We are officially live.
We
All
are.
right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode there was 0001 of Rip Currents. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Julie, and this is Scott. And we're Rip Currents, and this is going to be the summer series where we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in marketing, branding, business news, design, so on and so forth. We're going to see where it goes. We're going to be pretty loose and just kind of make it natural. But to start with, I just want to introduce Julia. I mean, she's someone that we actually this was born. This whole concept was because she and I would get on these calls. We talked for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm like, we should have recorded that. That was like be a good podcast. And then it wasn't just one time; it was over and over again. I'm like, look. So I reached out to her. I said, listen, would you consider doing a series, or even maybe if it works out, we keep doing it. Rip Currents with me, and she obliged. So without further ado, maybe tell them a little bit about your background so we can get them to kind of connect with you a little bit.
Well, see, I've been in marketing for a long time. Back in the day when that was the only title was you were marketing or not. And where when I was at school, we talked about how we could strategically fax people. So without aging myself too much, we didn't have all of the joys of the internet when I started in marketing. So I have been in marketing for over 20 some years now. I specialize in working with businesses to help create a marketing plan and implement design. And recently, I have, in the past 6 years, integrated behavioral economics, so the psychology of how people think and buy, into my practice. Currently have an agency. I'm also a fractional CMO. And I love this, Scott, because I think in our industry, there's so many of us that work remotely or work from home that the only time we're getting the conversation around these topics is when we do end up on the phone with somebody. So I think this could be really neat because both you and I, we hold different perspectives on some of these conversations, which is what has made our conversations so interesting. So I'm really excited to dive into today's.
And I'm stoked to have you. It's like I love your perspective, especially with all that behavioral science. You always throw stuff at me around like so interested. And it's like when you have like think about when you have these great conversations with your peers and stuff, they're private. Like nobody really hears about it. And I think that's what's cool about sort of happening with podcasting is like people having a conversation, you kind of you're getting a peek into two people's deep conversations and that's all really what this is, I think, is the way I'd sort of frame it
This
is
one, this one's unscripted. We are
yeah,
not going to have a chance to cut it and
we
edit
talked
this
for
when we're
30
done.
seconds. It was maybe a minute, maybe max a minute. We were talking about dog walks, like, and then we're like, oh, we got to go live like in 2 minutes. Like, we better talk what we're talking about. So, but I think that's kind of, I mean, I think that's okay. Like, I think we have when we talked initially, we had like framework. I don't even remember what it was, but I think the first thing is just like what's going on now. Like, I think that's what
Mm.
we start with. And so, one of the things that we talked about was you and I were talking about the whole Coldplay, this whole trend of the memes and stuff like this, and sort of like, what's your thoughts on that whole? It was just like a tsunami. It just happened overnight. What is your thoughts on that whole newsjacking experience?
I thought, you know what? Like everybody else, there were some things that were very humorous. There were mascots that replayed it, and it was fun and it was light. But my perspective, after the first couple days, I thought too many brands were using this as a way to leverage attention that wasn't necessarily relevant to their brands. It didn't enhance their brands, it didn't enhance their perspective. And I thought it was interesting that some brands would choose to jump on this bandwagon of infidelity, but they weren't supporting any positive social movements. And I thought that if we are trying as brands to garner attention and get eyeballs, we can do it for good, not just for bad. And I think we have to remember that we have to be timely, we have to be relevant, we have to be in our brand voice and know when these are the things that our brand needs to jump on. There are some things that are not aligned with people's brands and they jumped on these as just a strict opportunity for attention. And that's when I think it felt a little icky for people.
Felt a little cringy after a while. It still does. The attention thing. That's right. The newsjacking, like be able to tackle on that. I mean, to me, it's like flares of attention. And by the way, like you said, is it coherent with your brand? I get why people do it because they feel like, hey, I want to get where all the attention is, but are you getting the right attention?
Hmm.
And I don't know. I just for me, I've become sour on newsjacking. I think it's funny sometimes when people do memes and it's sort of, but the real humor is when you're clever and it is embedded into your brand. I think people try to ram it into their brand or just because they want to do it. But I think there's examples of when people just tweak it and it's part of their brand. Like it's
Yeah.
actually part of something similar that they're already doing, and it makes it really interesting. And I think there's an example of a clothing company. I think I just saw one. I wish I saved it so I could show it again. Of a clothing company that was doing this other thing that's on trend right now, which is this jeans thing with
Oh, the
American Eagle.
Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, so it's like it feels like we're in these rolling waves of attention of the what's the next thing that's sort of hot, and I think that before we kind of talk about that specifically, I feel like there's just gonna be another one next week, and it becomes this never-ending, insatiable, unquenchable thirst for attention. That's really like it's a waste of time. It's like a sugar high. It's not
Yeah.
sustainable. It's not built on your brand, but it makes you feel good because somehow you did get like likes, follows in some way, or some attention for it. I don't think it's building your brand. I mean, if you actually went out and built your
Yeah.
brand, built your reputation, you'd probably be better off.
I also think that people forget that there's a bigger picture. So when we're talking about the Coldplay thing, there is a whole office full of people who are now going to be the conversation at a barbecue. There are kids, in these families that friends and everybody's kind of like going to shudder away from. There's somebody who's that's their first job and they're wondering if they have job security because you know what, people can't stop making fun of their CEO and chief people officer. And so there is a point in which it is fun, but we have to let go because we know that not only like us, but they other people have to go on and live their lives, and we are affecting the image and lives of many other people. So it is a bit of humor,
Except
but it is
they
we do
leaned
have
into
fun.
it. But they
Yeah.
just leaned into it. They just hired
Oh,
Gwyneth
how they solve
Paltrow.
that?
They just
Brilliant.
so it's like so either they're like going so they're capitalizing on it, but if you thought about if they really thought it was bad, it's like I think they played it beautifully, but in some ways I'm kind of like, but they're trying to keep the attention going. They're capitalizing on the attention and trying to redirect the conversation. Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. But at the same time, I'm kind of like I can't fault them for it because I probably would do the same thing. Like if I had that access to that, I think they went to Ryan Reynolds' agency to hire her. I think that was they came to him with the plan or something.
Is it and okay, let's just pause for a second. Okay, first I love that they chose Gwyneth Paltrow, right? Chris Martin's
Oh
ex-wife.
yeah, the total connect. That was the reason.
But Ryan Reynolds has kind of his own stuff happening in the world right now. So it's kind of funny that his agency is being used for crisis
Maybe because they're
PR right
battle
now.
hardened, always being in crisis, So
Like, isn't this like kind of a perfect kind of humorous storm? But I
is
do love
is
that
there
they
a sense
addressed
of
it right away
there's
and
no
how they
bad such
chose.
thing as bad press?
I do actually. I think like, this is an age-old question that all marketers have. Is there such thing as bad press? I do. I don't think I would want Diddy's press.
Totally. I mean, that's like I don't buy into that. I think it's a terrible idea. I think that was brought on by some political marketing that was you know what I mean? Like it's like where you're trying to just get your name out there. I don't see that as being a good strategy for anybody to replicate unless you have money to buy your way out of it if you make a mistake like they did.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the way that astronomer handled their response, it actually really humanized them. It gave us all a little bit of humor around it all. It
Yeah.
was timely. It was approached well, understanding that for a lot of people this is a sensitive subject. So they approached it the most humorous manner, and I just think choosing Gwyneth Paltrow, like really, like that was just the icing on the cake. It was brilliant. So yeah, I think that was very, very clever.
Yeah. Still at the end of the day, the memes, the newsjacking. I wonder what's going to come of. Is it going to carry on with Gwyneth? There's going to be other memes. I'm sure there is. You know, the memes. By the way, memes. I'm all over memes. I think memes are great. They're kind of like a total shortcut to getting ideas. I mean, I laugh my hardest at sometimes at some of these memes.
Oh yeah, I love they're such a passive aggressive form of communication for a lot of people. They're also a cultural bridge for a lot of us when we don't
Political
understand things.
statements, like you saw people like getting, Trump and JD Vance or something. They're
Yeah.
like, whatever. Like, it's funny. Like this, it's like a cultural statement. I think that's like a move. in this time, like that's like a memorable moment, that cultural shift. And that's what I was sort of thinking. I'm wondering is like, you remember the Jeff Bezos with his wedding, right? I thought it was kind of cringy, and I don't think I'm alone in it. It was so over the top, so exclusive, so elitist that it's sort of, you know that saying. Have you heard that saying, "Jump the shark" moment? Are you
Yeah.
familiar with that? Yeah. So it's like, so for those of you who don't know, it was, I think it was it start. No, I don't think I know. It started when Happy Days. They knew the Happy Days was at the end of their entire like series when Fonzie was going to jump the shark with his water skis, and so they use that over and again when you finally have run out of creative ideas and you've kind of like played it all out. You know, it's like that's when you know you're done. And it feels like that is a culture moment where we've kind of jumped the shark with Jeff Bezos and this. I think there's a connection here of there's a big cultural shift happening. I don't feel like people were like fawning over that wedding or anything. It
I
wasn't like
I
Princess Diana's wedding or anything, you know.
but do you think they cared?
That's the thing is I don't think
I
I think
don't
they
I don't think so.
they become irrelevant.
And I don't think they care that they become irrelevant because they have such a small niche of peers and people that they actually care about their opinions. They don't care about our opinions. They
Oh,
don't care
maybe
about the
yeah.
media's. You know,
Maybe
they
they're
have
winning at a different game. Yeah,
yeah, and so it's just not relevant. Do I think it's appropriate? No. It's a spectacle, and I do think they relished in the spectacle of it all and the attention of it all. And the celebrities that attended for the same reason.
it's
It
about
keep
attention.
when you're
I have
visual,
this.
you're relevant.
It's the same thing. It's attention.
That's
Like
the kind of world we're in. We're an attention-seeking society, and so everything begins to be an opportunity to leverage or find a way to gain more attention because attention equals relevancy. Once
does it?
once you're
I don't know
disappear,
if
you're
I
almost
don't.
gone.
Attention doesn't. I don't think it creates relevancy because some things are not relevant that got my attention. Like for example, someone could yell "fight" and everyone in the room will turn. You got my attention. That's not relevant to me.
That's not true, actually.
What do you mean?
So they actually tell you that if there's a fire, you don't yell fire because people actually have this mindset that they don't want to get involved. So if you want to get everybody's attention and you're in an emergency situation, yell mom.
Okay.
That will get everybody's attention. But
Still not
fire won't.
relevant though if I'm not if it's like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's again, you're just doing head turning exercise, whether it's fire, whether it's fight, whether it's
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like here's this spectacle. I don't know that it creates relevancy. I think it's just it's dying. I think attention there's where our adrenals are overwhelmed with people trying to grab our attention. Now with AI, with pandas going down slides, shooting shotguns, and turning into a pizza commercial, we're just like exhausted because we're like, it's this. Is it real? Like, how many things are you seeing right now about? I've been seeing this whole thing about trampoline and bunnies and different animals on trampolines, and I'm like, it got me again. It's AI,
Yeah.
right? Like, we're gonna get sick of this shit.
I think that's, exactly the tipping point we are getting to and why I think a lot of us creators, a lot of us designers, artists, we all know that what we do will be more valuable when we've got that human touch attached to it because taking a quick cue from YouTube, their announcement on July 15th. What do people want? Do they want more AI in their life? According to YouTube, that's not the truth. YouTube
Yeah,
actually came out with a whole statement about how they were going to deal with monetization and AI.
yeah. Let me share that with you. I mentioned that to you yesterday and sent it to you, and see if I can share my screen appropriately. Please forgive my if I make a mistake, but I'm gonna play a little clip.
Massive change for you. July 15th, YouTube announced moving forward, they're not monetizing to people that are just creating AI content with AI voice, meaning the new partner program that they have where you can get monetization with ads. They don't care if it gets 100 million views. You know what they're interested in? Let me read it to you. And you tell me what the future looks like for humans like you and I, us people. Watch this. Here's what it says. To comply, this is what's important to us. Add human narration or voiceover with personal style, insights, or storytelling. Use creative editing, graphics, transitions, overlays, and sound design. Provide value through analysis, education, original opinions, humor, or entertainment. But what they don't want is the repetitive content that's inauthentic content. Using AI seems spammy, low effort, but people are making it and making money. So what does this mean to you and I long term? Here's what I'm convinced. If you get value out of the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This is what I'm convinced with. The more and more and more we go to AI, for instance, in the next 10 years, guess what's going to be around? You're going to be able to go buy a girl any height you want.
Should I keep it going with this whole robot thing?
No, I think
Yeah.
we
I think it's,
got the point.
yeah, we got the point
Bubble
there. So I just
butt,
gotta figure out how
whatever
to actually
size
stop
waist.
my share now. So I don't want to hang up, so hopefully I'm not stopping the stop
There
sharing.
we
There we go.
go.
I did it. Sweet. So for those of you watching, it's like we were talking about this before. I sent this to you yesterday, and I was like, that's exactly interesting because it's not even just like a theory, like, hey, people just desire less AI. That's actually YouTube hard coding monetization, follow the money. They're saying no monetization if you are using full on AI. It's not like having those attributes. And I'm like, wow, like that really, that just announcement just came out. Like, what was it, a week, 2 weeks ago?
Hmm. So what
That
do you think? Do you think this is the right move by YouTube?
totally,
Yeah.
absolutely, because it's a they. I can just see it's just gonna they're gonna try to really focus on the quality of what they think that people truly value, because our attention, I can see them becoming irrelevant because of the flood of AI content, the tsunami that could go on there, and trying to find real good content in there is what they're trying to avoid, because that actually I think is what is likely to occur. And then they're gonna be caught up in this, get a bajillion views and someone faking it being real and then it's not real. And I think it's like they don't want to pay. I don't think they want to pay people to. They want to pay for this differentiated human. I think it comes down to what we're valuing is craft. That's what I think is really becoming valued, because it's being our creativity is being commoditized with AI, but people are going to value the future value is going to be in craftsmanship, human touching, because it shows the level of craftsmanship, right? Like took time to create. Do you value something that someone gave you, a 5-page PDF that they typed and they sent to you in 1 minute? Or if it's something I've been working on for a month and then I send it to you, which one do you value more? I think it's like the one that someone spent time on because it has a point of view. It's humanly interacted. It's like it's.
Okay, I agree with you, but I wanna challenge you. And I think I would love to take this role of, can we not use a certain level of creativity to design the prompts? Or sometimes we have a creative idea. How many times have you been looking for something and you can't find it because it's not yet created? AI can create that for us. So there can be a certain level of creativity in the prompt, the thought, the design of the video, the execution of the video. So I believe there's a creativity there. So I would challenge you on like whether this AI box encompasses it, but this is my stance on this. YouTube is a search tool. It's a search engine tool. It is one of the greatest search engine tools. When people go there, they're asking for an answer. They're not asking for AI. They're asking for how to change the oil in their car, how to fix this, how to like we're looking for videos and entertainment by real people that we can relate to, that we might know, that are experts in certain areas. We're actually not searching for AI to answer things. We have options and platforms to have AI answer things for us. That's what ChatGPT is. That's what DeepSeek, all of them. We can go to those platforms and ask AI to answer our search. We don't want YouTube to do it. If we're just on YouTube for entertainment, well, we have platforms that are okay with AI use like Meta. So why wouldn't we just go to Meta for entertainment, YouTube for search, AI for search, AI based search answers? So I think I would categorize why YouTube is taking this stance is that they have a deeper understanding of their audience and what their audience wants. And it goes beyond what they believe on screen or what creativity is on screen, is they want to actually be a space for authenticity. And that's why if there's AI generated video, as long as you put commentary,
Yeah, as long as there's a
discussion,
human touch in there, I think that's okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, that's what we're craving is,
yeah.
and that's what we expect from YouTube. YouTube has always been a channel for that. It's like if McDonald's suddenly says we're not going to make fries anymore, well, we want the salted fries. right? Don't take away what we've known you for and what we've loved you for. And YouTube understands that people love them for the human-based content that is on there. And so AI would take away from it if there's no human element.
But they're still gonna you're still gonna be able to create full AI content on there.
But you
They're
don't
just
have to
saying
monetize it.
you just can't monetize it. That's all they're saying. Yeah.
That's the loudest message. It says we don't want that here. We're not going to pay you for
We're
it.
not gonna pay you for it. Yeah.
Which is funny because I don't know if your entire audience would know or realize this, but Canadians don't get monetized for a lot of their stuff on social media platforms. You know, we're ineligible. So when we're creating and we're doing stuff on these platforms, it's more genuine. I don't want to say more genuine, but it doesn't have that tie to it. So we're not going to necessarily be creating things just for the monetization.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was really aimed for the creators, the
Hmm.
ones that live and die, make money monetizing, creating content, building an audience, getting ad sales, getting subscription, like not subscription, but like getting monetized through the platforms. I think for everyday business people, I think it's still a message to them about just kind of like if they're not willing to monetize it, like what do your customers value? What does it say about you and your brand if you automate everything and create beginning to end with AI? I think it can work, but I think that the most human. I love Mark Schaefer. His tagline is the most human brand wins. And I agree. I really do. I think it's, but but I mean, I still use AI, but I don't use it to automate too much. Like I don't try to automate. I'm not going to show up as an AI agent on here and have a conversation or a semi. I think that's what's going to come is
Yeah.
we're going to be Scott Martin's AI that I'm going to program and prompt is going to show up and do lives, and then that's going to all be automated. It's going to be botted, and it's going to be this whole thing that where it's like, in the end, I think it's people just want to actually hear from people. I don't want to hear from a bot.
Yeah, and I love that. The most human brand wins because the first thing you learn in marketing is know your audience, right? And so as humans, we will know our audience inevitably better than AI. We, as Canadians, if you try to explain to AI that we stub our toe on a piece of furniture and apologize to the furniture, AI would not understand this. But Canadians, we do it. We bump into a wall, we apologize to the wall, right? It's just something about who we are that comes naturally. It doesn't make sense, but as a human, I know that about other Canadians. We can laugh about it. That's being human, knowing your audience.
Yeah, it's like there's a level of like, what do we want to be intimate with? And he's arguing, I think, in the later part of the segment, is that we're going to get a large part of people are going to get intimate with robots and things and bots, and people already are getting intimate with Chat GDP. But largely, is it really like? I think of it a little bit like this whole AI and this content overwhelm, a little bit like junk food and Michelin star chefs.
Hmm.
I don't think any Michelin star chef is concerned about the McDonald's automating burgers and the Burger 2000 maker. I don't think they care. I don't. They're like, go ahead. You're just making more disparity between you and us. So I think that there's like to say it's like it's gonna fail or not. I think it's gonna explode. It's just gonna be like junk food. It's gonna be like junk entertainment. It's like junk mail. Like think of your junk, all the how much mail I used to get or still maybe get like that's junk mail. You just toss it out. So I think it's just creating a divide. In fact, there was a Gardner research. You and I talked about I think once before, which is the analog brands. Right? There's this whole new category. They're saying that within the next like 3 years, there's a whole new category. 25% of brands are going to be called analog brands, and they're going to market the absence of AI. And I think that's profound because it's like to me that's like that doesn't mean everybody's going to. It doesn't make the other 75%
Hmm.
wrong. It just means it's a new category. And for me, like the work that I do, the craftsmanship, I want to work with the Michelin star people, the people
Yeah.
that actually want to create like a reputation, because I know that that's sustainable, because that's a premise they have. It's also know it's like you can be remarkable, so you can actually grow on itself and create word of mouth, and you can create a groundswell, which is people actually want to contribute actively, involve other people to it, and bring them to you. So those are the reasons I kind of go there. But I know there's a ton of people that want to talk about AI and automation, the amazingness of it. I don't make it wrong. I'm just going. It's just not my audience. Speaking about who am I trying to talk to?
Hmm.
That's who I'm interested in talking to, and then sort of showing how some people want to step over dollars, pick up pennies, and they want to do it, and I think they might regret it later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like imagine you were an expert, and then you suddenly started using AI for all your articles, and you went, no, no, I think I'm going to go back to doing this. Where's the trust?
Hmm.
It comes down to trust, I think. You know what I mean? And I think that's if I know I'm getting an AI agent, and I'm okay with that. Like I mean, if I'm getting an AI response, or I'm expecting it, but if I'm presenting myself as the AI and it's supposed to be a human, I think that's where it crosses the line where we kind of don't trust, and then we won't come back from it.
Yeah, I think that my opinion on this is I believe there is a huge place in the world for the automation, the AI. It has done a lot of great things. I like that the cream of the crop will rise, and the people who, use AI with critical thinking, or, the people who can be genuinely creative. You cannot replace genuine creativity and humor with AI. It's not the same. So it will help separate the people that actually have these genuine talents. And it also will, that critical thinking, that, you know, pairing two seemingly polar opposite things and being able to put them together in a unique manner. Like creativity is pulling different things together and assembling them in a unique manner. AI can't do necessarily that on a clever basis. So that's where I think we're going to see the division of people. And I think there's definitely a lot of use. Like, I'm happy to have AI sort my emails. I'm happy to have AI, do simple tasks for me, automate tasks. Oh, I see you're out of milk. Would you like me to add milk to your grocery list? I'm really happy for AI to make my life simpler and allow me to shine for my skill, my thought, my critical thinking, and my creativity rather than my data entry skills, or the automation that doesn't need to be there.
What about AI that? So this is the battle I have a little bit. Is like imagine I've got a really great story I want to tell, and the way I can really make it sing is like say using Midjourney and making a video movie, but I'm telling the story, but it's like but AI is building the world, building that like making like where they're saying like people will be able to make their own Star Wars movies, and I love that idea too, and so from that perspective, I think it's like it's sort of like I don't want to confuse that these tools can be incredible for creating creativity. I'm not against it, like going got to be a purist. It's not like I used to be
One or the other.
anti-calculator and I used the abacus to do my accounting. Like fuck that, like I want to do things fast too. It's more the premise of it, I guess.
I think I think there's a spot we know where some AI is being used. We innately know. It's the same thing as when we started having call centers that were no longer created or no longer existing in the country that the business that we engaged with are, right? You call about your cell phone, I bought it from a Canadian provider. I know the call center is likely not in Canada. I know that with my bank as well. And so there's I guess, a tolerance in which we all accept that some of these things are the natural evolution of business, and we don't necessarily expect people at the call center to be from our country. But there's a level of transparency because we just know, something
Except
is just not right sometimes.
if I would pay more, don't tell me. I'm not gonna say.
No,
Would
I
you
love
pay
this.
more if would you pay a little bit more with your bank if you knew that you could reach some real human and talk to him versus going through a phone a phone prompting and AI? Would you pay more for that?
I think we all will. I think we all will have, because we don't have a problem with our banks when everything's going right. So the problem is when you're already in a frustrated state of mind and you have to do all the prompts and all of that. Yeah, you would say, I'll pay $50 to have someone on the phone and let me get this over with. That's, efficiency of time. And we know that the problem is probably going to be fixed with the human much sooner. If you ever called CRA, it's the same thing. You would pay the salary of an employee to fix your problem. But it only comes when there's an issue, when there's something bad. So I think we will, and I think that's where we're going. Companies will seek out other companies that they can talk to, that they're not just going to get an automatic email from, that they can actually get natural products that have, a knitted scarf with a little problem that's right in the middle, something that shows the human imperfection that makes it perfect.
Yeah, is AI going to start trying to create subtle imperfections to kind of replicate human?
Well, they can't spell all the time. If you've ever had AI try to make you something that has words in it, you can tell that they're already faking spelling errors.
Oh,
They
really?
just
Oh,
there's
yeah.
words are a problem for AI. Same with fingers.
Yeah.
And we're getting better with it all, and it's going to be harder and harder to detect. But I think like a lot of things, you can just feel when something's authentic. Like when you build a great brand, you can just feel that. You can also feel when AI has crafted a response email, when AI has, written a social media post, or AI has made a picture. There's something about it that just doesn't feel the same. And that's why that sorry, I don't know the name, but that illustrator, the was it anime or comic illustrator, this is the most beautiful thing about his art was the way he understood human emotion that cannot be captured.
Hmm.
And I thought that's a beautiful way to be above the rest, is by that innate understanding of human. And back to that Mark's quote, right? The most human brand. He knows humans. He understands humans, so he can relay and converse with humans in only the way a human can.
Yeah, and I think it's maybe it comes down to word curation, like just having the human curate, knowing which pedals to push to kind of keep it real or keep it on track or keep it the coherence, keeping the through line there and making sure when. I think that's probably going to be like anything, like a chef, knowing when to add
Mhm.
too much salt or whatever, right? Like,
You
um,
know.
yeah, it's like a recipe, I think there's that. This is the thing is we have this whole pantry of like new ingredients we never thought we had called AI, that can replicate fake salt, but just knowing when to use it versus that Himalayan pink sea salt that was brought down with goats and some monk or something, and it's
And
you know what I mean.
blessed and all that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like know when there needs to be a story and maybe when it's just like time to just like get something out or
Do you
whatever.
think every company and every brand should have a disclaimer when they use AI?
I have to preface that. I think that to your answer your question, it's yes and no. Yes, if they're gonna if it feels to me as a consumer that either the information or I'm gonna be talking to somebody and you're trying to represent it as human, or if you're a brand that's has intellectual capital and you're trying to that's your intellectual capital, but it's AI. I think you have to disclaim it, like to one portion. To
Mm.
like I write in wavelengths. I'll put edited with Grok, research with Grok. Like I want to make sure it's really clear. I want people to know that I write everything myself, but I do a little bit with it, But I don't want to be a purist because sometimes like there's research. I love the tool for the research, I claim it. I do think that they should, but at the same time, if I'm using AI in the background to do my accounting, do I need to claim that? Does that make sense? Like I feel like
Yeah, no, I think you're trying to establish where a groundwork should be, right? And so like you think of like a social media post. A blog is one thing. A blog is, considered long form. We expect a blog to be, a thoughtful piece of content. So to enhance it with the use of AI, or, further scope the blog with the use of AI, maybe that deserves a disclaimer. Do you think, and I know a company in my region where I live, they don't speak English first language. So they use social media for all of their social media posts so that they can have a conversation with their audience, but in English, not their first language. Do you think somebody like that should have to put a disclaimer that they're using AI because they're representing themselves as a human, but it kind of, I don't know. I think it feels like the same thing as when we went from using the library to using the internet. We didn't have to say, I used the internet for this, right? I think
yeah,
this is going to be a really weird
trans
place that we're not going to know how to navigate
it's
well.
not. I don't think it's an if or must. I think it's more like if you think of transparency, transparency is part of what creates trust.
Hmm.
Okay, so I think that it's like if you want to create more trust, be more transparent. It's like think of a restaurant. Okay, so you could say, hey, trust me, the food that we have this Michelin star chef, we make all this magic in the back, and just trust me. Or you could have a glass windows and you can hear them and you can see and you can look while they're making the whole thing from beginning to end and see how clean it is, how amazing it is. Like it's, and they could be doing it perfectly well or not. I think it's just a choice of,
Yeah.
I want to bring my process forward. And I think what's going to come is from pressure from people going, if I don't feel that there's some level of transparency that I can just trust, I can choose to how I'm going to read it. And if it's, I think that what's going to happen is the people who are really more transparent, because it's like the chef, like I want to show you, anyone that's like really good with their craft, they're going to be, you can tell when either consultants, chefs, name anything, when they're really proud of the process, the time they took, the thinking they did, they want to put their process on the platter.
Mhm.
They want to share it with you, right? Think of when you ordered something going, this goat milk came from, whatever, right? So I think that that is going to come forward for the companies that really want to demonstrate that, and the ones that don't, they're either missing out if they're doing that as an opportunity to kind of create more trust, or people just may think they're less trustworthy. True or not true, right or wrong, I don't know. I just think it's going to be something that's naturally going to. It's actually what my whole book's about, which is this whole shift from age of attention. We're moving this age of trust,
Mhm.
and to me, I think it's this huge swing that's happening right now, and I think that's just. I don't
Do
think
you
it's going to
think
be a
that's just
must.
happening because of AI, or do you think that is based in what has happened with brands and what has happened in our economy and our political system? Like, I love that idea of we're in a place of trust, right? An economy of trust. But where do you think that need from your audience and your consumer comes from? Is it from it all or primarily from AI?
It's actually. Have you ever heard somebody like they go, I built my business because it was born. Like when I started my agency STMG with my partner, it was born out of disdain because the agency I was working with was overbilling. It was born out of me wanting to do the opposite. And so Tony Robbins talks a lot about, who's been my mentor for years. He talks about this thing called threshold. When people reach a threshold, not another minute, no longer. Think of every major decision anyone's ever made in their life: getting married, breaking up, whatever. These are these moments of threshold are leverage for us, right? So I believe it's not really brought on by all these other factors. I think it's going to be brought in by mistrust. I really do. I think it's going to be the only reason this is going to happen is we no longer trust our eyes that this is Scott, or that this panda going down slide isn't entertainment. Oh, it's a commercial. You got me again, right? Like it's mistrust, and born of that, we're going to go, not in a minute. I don't want to trust this, and what's going to happen is just going to give birth to a new industry of people going and creating trust marks, creating. Think of verification. So verification is a whole thing, right? Like, and it's like AI. If you guys actually, I'm gonna put a link maybe in the thing. There's a really great LinkedIn Live by Robert Rose from the marketing from Robert and Joe Paluzzi. He did a solo thing, and he talks about, it's called the mullet content strategy, and how AI is looking for preeminence or verified experts in, and that's the way that they're going to serve up content. You need to figure out how to do that. Have a point of view, so it's human, but also have structure so that they can find you. It's easy to connect the dots on the categories that you're an expert in. To me, that's about verification. Even AI is going to look for verify. They don't want to serve up fake news,
Mhm.
fake fake experts. They want the source. So I think it comes down to, like blockchain, the source. Where's the transparency to the source, right? Don't we want that? We want news. What's the source of this information? So I think that they follow the fake news and how people are now demanding, and then we'll have critical thinking from looking at both sides, all the information. The transparency of government in the U.S. right now, you've seen that as well. I think it's a form of trying to create trust because there's so much mistrust. So to end my little rant, it's like it's actually not. It's not really like. I think it's just like we're just over it. Like we're over attention. Our adrenals are like collapsed.
Mhm. Yeah, and you know what? And back to like full circle that back to where we started with this. I actually wonder if there will be moments where brands are trying to create their own controversy because like when we saw all the logo redesigns, the Jaguar logo redesign, the amount of press that these
Oh,
things
this is interesting.
garner
Yeah.
is incredible that I think that we will wonder if some of these are stunts that are created
Constructed.
just, yes. And that, I
Constructed
think that's
constructed
on the level.
crisis that they already know the outcome to make them look good. So they're playing a different level of trust. There is a credible article by somebody, if I can find it, I'll put it in the notes afterwards, that actually said, what if someone did this as a brand, this Coldplay thing, and it actually increased the stock value of the company and Coldplay that was sort of like, and they kind of broke it all down. I'm like, that's a plausible strategy. And
Well, I hate to bring it up, but this whole Sydney Sweeney, the American Eagle stock jumped 18%. And you and I both know,
I
Scott,
heard it went down though.
maybe today, but it didn't initially. It went up
Yeah.
18%. You and I both know, and I think the world knows. The world knows if you've worked in corporate at all, you know you don't just get something approved in a hot second. The layers of people and
That size of
thought and
company. Oh
decision.
yeah. Yeah.
So was this Sydney Sweeney thing an opportunity for them to garner conversation and attention? Did they know what they were doing?
Well,
Or
the ad agency totally did. But I mean, but isn't that the job of the ad agency to get like the marketing and ad is to create the most amount of attention, differentiation, and start a conversation? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that kind of what they're? It's like, think of Guess Jeans did the same thing years ago, right? Like, I mean,
Mhm,
it's sort of a repeat thing where it's like being controversial. The question is the Sweeney thing where it's kind of bridging, where it's sort of like creating a cultural note. I think what they've been doing it for years. It's just a different note.
mhm.
Meaning, right now there's a high sensitivity of like DEI versus I think that whole thing is, and people have like a heightened sort of like feel of it right now, but they forget they go back in time. That's happened over and over and over and over again.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
think about remember the Janet Jackson? Did she really have a costume?
Oh yeah.
Like
We love controversy. Like, and you look at ads back in like the 50s and things like that. We were telling women to take certain things so they could be better wives, and we belong home, and it was almost exclusively white people in the ads. So we've had this before, but we seem to have gone full circle to this other side where people are saying we're smarter now. We don't behave like that. These are things that are no longer acceptable in our advertisement. So then was this calculated or was it an accident? Because we all like to garner attention with our advertising. There's nothing that we want more. Do we want controversy? Does controversy, and this is where your question was, is all publicity good publicity? We could sit in this thought about like, what does this really mean? Was this intentional? Because the other jean companies, I think Old Navy came out with a jean ad right after that just said we make all jeans in all different sizes, different colors, right? Like, you know, really took that. And, when we started talking about people making fun of the memes, Old Navy did a really good job on taking that conversation about that advertisement and using it and spinning it for their own benefit.
well, I mean, isn't that good? Like, if you think most people think of ads and marketing as it's devoid of the cultural context. It actually is in the deeper it is in the mind of the psyche of the cultural consciousness of what's going on in the cultural field, the more powerful it is, right?
Hmm.
You mentioned Jaguar, you mentioned this one. So it's like that is why we emotionally kind of engage with it to some degree. And I think it is intentional that there's a difference though in this culture that's never really happened before. This is why I think we're at the collapse of it is how many people in the 50s would be enraged where now people are talking about it, but deeply they'll kind of know, yeah, it's kind of a game. There's like they already kind of are aware that we're being manipulated, we're being programmed, we're our emotions, they're kind of getting over it, or at least there's awareness now of it. At some point they'll get sick of it, but I think it's more of an awareness going, yeah, I mean, some people, there's definitely people on the fringe that are like enraged about it or whatever. But I'm just saying, I think that for the most part, that is what marketing, advertising, some of the best stuff was culturally in the right moment and sort of the mood and really tapped into that cultural field. You know what I mean? Like the
And
Bryn
that's
Wall
where
coming down. How many
bringing that,
different? Go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say, and that's why bringing back the Gwyneth Paltrow and Coldplay, that was the perfect
Yeah,
answer. That was the perfect response because it tapped into cultural understanding. We all knew what happened. We all knew the relationship. kind of we all were participating in that inside joke. And that's why that made it so clever is
Yeah.
we were all a part of it.
And that is sophisticated,
And
like
Ryan Reynolds' team is generally exceptional
right.
at identifying these opportunities, identifying in these moments in culture, identifying what's trending, and really using it for its greatest benefit and using it to make the best conversations. His agency is well known for this and has done this really well. So no surprise.
But everyday companies, they don't have Ryan Reynolds. They don't have, they have these other cultural events out there, and they're before we're kind of give I was at least I was giving him a hard time for going, oh, you're just jumping on this newsjacking thing. But you could argue that they're just being part of the cultural conversation. That is what made this a bigger cultural conversation. Is they were part of it at that point in time, and maybe that's just permissible and that's okay. Just like when there's the Olympics, people do Olympic kind of based things and kind of memes and different things, within their company and stuff. So, there's no harm in it. In fact, I think it's still great. I just call them like attention flares.
Mhm.
But when people live on that, when that they anticipate their growth model, when they're building their brand on it, I think when you play with it, awesome. My point is, most people that's their strategy. It's a terrible
Yeah.
strategy.
And a lot of times it doesn't align. Like we saw during the pandemic, we saw a lot of organizations jumping on different bandwagons, jumping on different social causes, and it exhausted their audience. And oftentimes, some brands participated in these conversations that they didn't actually even belong in. It wasn't the right conversation for them. And so then it left their audience feeling like you're just doing this for attention. I've lost that genuine feeling. So that lends back to we're in a era of a society of building trust. It's all about where we align ourselves. So we can newsjack, but does it align with what our brand is saying, what our business is about, what we believe to our core, or are we just doing it for attention? And I think our audiences have gotten really savvy to that, and that's the difference.
Yeah, they've lost the love and feeling.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the way I'd say it is our BS meter, the BS meter 2000 is like running full time, and
Mhm.
our gut energy of like our intelligence, like we say, listen to your gut, right? Like when you're seeing something and it's incoherent. So some of those memes were incoherent. You're kind of like, oh, that what is that company? That's not coherence.
Mhm.
That's like I mean that's why I'm really focused on brand coherence because it actually is a way for us to see if the connective tissue makes sense. That's what we're looking for. Isn't that what you're looking for in a person? If they're
Yeah.
lying or telling the truth, looking for the incoherence or the coherence. When someone's really coherent or a brand is coherent, like when they follow a meme and it works with their brand and stuff, but when they jump on these bandwagon things that have nothing to do with them, they think they're doing the right thing, but they don't realize that we're getting so smart, like it's incoherent. When we
Yeah.
see those emails coming in, the browbeating 20th email asking me to join, your thing, and you make it sound like it was personal email, but it was an automated thing, like we've been experiencing for the last 10 years of automation and email. We already know it's incoherent. Like we're just like, so it's unsubscribe or ignore or whatever, right? So coherence, I think, is what's really rising is our the love and feeling of like we're looking for coherence.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're hunting for this doesn't feel coherent to me. I don't know about this, right?
Oh
That
my
slows
God.
down.
That's
Slows
why
down.
how AI feels is feels like there's something off. That's why coherence is so
Totally. It's
important,
like you can
right?
almost tell when it's even though it's really well written, it feels like it was like there's it's like we just can
There's no
tell.
M dashes, but there's something.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I did this podcast with Susan Casey. Do you know who that is?
No.
So Susan Casey is the she's New York Times multiple book bestseller. She was the authority on a book called Waves. She actually wrote in for my like wrote a thing in my book on waves, and I got her advice on how to kind of make sure my model explained properly. It was accurate stuff. But
Mhm.
she wrote a book on sharks, and she also just finished a book on underwater world. Like she was underwater for months at a time, the deep seas and stuff. Anyway, she was telling me a story about I think it's orcas maybe. They have this area of the brain that we have, but it's more pronounced. And what she's saying is like they can sense. They have this like ability to sense truth or they have this this muscle that we have, and they have an ability to kind of talk, telepathically and different things of that nature that she was explaining. She's going, I think that we are going to actually create. We're going to have our BS meter 2000. This area of our brain is going to keep increasing. Our bullshit meter is going to get stronger. It's like these animals. They're I think I can't remember. I have to find the clip for it exactly what she explained, but it kind of blew me away about what their abilities and how we actually probably are able to decipher this. We just can sense it. It's like a sense.
You know,
So it's just,
I agree with that. I would challenge that. I'm going to say there's going to be some people who just don't care.
oh yeah,
You know, I think there's going to be a whole world of people who are like, I don't really care if it's AI or not. I don't really care if AI is doing this for me or not. There's going to be elements in which we're totally comfortable with AI and totally uncomfortable with robotics. Like you don't want to go to school and have the teacher as a robot. You don't want to go to a restaurant and ask if the fish is good today and a robot saying, "Yeah, the fish is great." There's going to be certain elements in which you're absolutely not going to trust AI. But then there's going to be moments when, like the first time I went to Nashville, it was an all automated system. And I know that there's like automated hotel check-ins in some different countries. That we don't mind. It's like it's fine. I don't need to talk to somebody to go get my hotel room.
hmm
I think there's going to be areas in which whether we use AI automation or any of these technology tools, sometimes it's going to be really important for us to have a human, and we will pay more for a human. And there's going to be moments in which we're like, I don't really care. Like I don't care if a robot cleans my floor, right? I don't care, if automation does wakes me up every morning and things like that. But there are moments that it's actually going to make a huge difference. And I think we as humans, brands, businesses need to understand where and when our audiences want us versus automation and AI.
curation.
Hmm.
It's just when how to curate it. And by the way, I love Michelin star food, and sometimes I get a hot dog. It's just
We can have it all.
have it all. Like it's just sort of it's just more. I think it's more of a comment of I think the pendulum. Like how the hype curve, right? The hype curve. It's like we're in the peak of hype for AI, and we're going to go in the trough of disdain or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
And it's like we're in this hype cycle right now where it's like I see so many people just running at it and stuff, and I just think it's like everything. It's like the .com. You could put shoes.com or click.com, and you became a millionaire. I think that we're going to have this sort of cleanup moment where we do care, but we
Hmm.
only care about the things that we care about. Think of
Yeah.
time. Like so if I think of we want to when you go to Disneyland, this is a great example that Joe Pine uses, is like the time continuum is efficiency, right? We like if, for example, I when I'm going to line into Disneyland, I want to get through it as quickly as possible. That's like AI. Some things like let's get it done. I don't want to waste time.
Hmm.
But I don't want to be rushed through Disneyland. I want time to slow down because I want to experience it, as an example, right? So it's like playing with time and playing with the appropriate sort of curating, like when to use certain things. Is I think the mastery that marketers and branding needs to think about is there's a time and place to get something quick and delivered. Like Jay Bear, he's like whole thing is like you got to move fast. But I'd argue also there's times you need to kind of maybe slow down to speed up. Like the slowing down in this age of everything coming up quickly, I think is going to become a new mastery. Being able to provide space for people to slow down and kind of experience something.
Did you notice that I just leaned into this? Let me tell you,
Okay, tell me.
I have had a practice of being bored because I think that in this world that we live in, when something takes too long, we think it's broken. So, a line at Disneyland, we are so used to everything being so instant that when something's not instant, it's broken. We don't see it as real, we see it as broken. So, and sometimes we are so used to having our dopamine fix all the time that we don't know how to be bored. But when you were a child, you were a master of boredom. You were excellent at being bored. You'd complain about it, you'd kick the back of the seats on a road trip, but we all leaned into it. We all got used to it and we lost that. And there's such a power, I think, in unlocking our creativity when we can allow ourselves to be bored. So I don't do nothing because I'm a Virgo, I'm a business owner. I feel like doing nothing is just absolutely wrong. But I doodle. and I doodle random things, write random words without purpose. And I find that in those moments, without feeling the pressure to write something down or go complete something, you unlock an aspect of your brain that allows you to be creative and allows you to be calm, and it's so meditative without meditating. So
In
I'm
my
all for
personal
that.
life, I'm a Pisces, and I'm unapologetically could like tap out and be in a hammock for 2 hours, or go surfing for half a day, or not talk to anyone for a weekend and go whatever. Like I'm all in on like I'm good. Like I don't need fast. I think what I'm referring to from a brand business standpoint is just like the curation of it. And but sure, the human condition, we do need to be like it's we're Gen Xers, it's like we've already I know what it's like to be on a road trip and have nothing to do but look out the window. I've been on those.
Yeah.
And but then, I created ideas in my head, and now maybe that's what's carried over now where I'm like fine with I look forward to walks where I don't. Maybe I'll listen to music sometims, but I just like to just think. You know.
Just watch. Do you know why there's mirrors in elevators?
I know. No, I don't. Maybe why in elevators.
So back in the day, elevators, you'd spend all this time, people were bored on the elevators. So they asked the companies to make the elevators faster. Well, you could imagine if you made an elevator too fast back in the day, how sick people would get. It wasn't that the elevators were too slow, it's that people were bored in the elevators going up. So if you gave them something to do like self groom, they were entertained.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
sometimes we tend to want to find the easiest, most efficient solution, and that could be AI. But sometimes we have to look at what the real question is, what the real problem is, and what consumers really want before we decide what the solution is that's going to fix it.
Well, speaking of mirrors, I can tell you another. Do you know why they have mirrors at double doors going into shopping malls?
No.
So, I had him on my podcast, Paco Underhill. He's the
Oh, yes.
OG of Why We Buy. Like he's a retail anthropologist studying humans in retail environments, and he would study the spaces, make changes, and basically create massive improvements in terms of flow or sales or revenue or whatever they're trying to accomplish. And so, when you go into a shopping mall, just maybe anyone's listening, like just imagine yourself walking shop. What do you normally do? Like you, when you walk in, you would think in your mind, if you're like the one going, oh wow, I bet you this table at the front where the main entrance of Nordstrom's, usually a round table with ties or something, right? You would think that's the most profitable table because everyone has you. It's unignorable, correct?
Yeah.
No, it's not true. Generally speaking, or until I tell you the rest of the story, it's like they actually suffer. What happens is, and what just next time you go in, just think to yourself, what do we do? I did it. I've done this every time I go to shop. I'm like, I did it again, and I realize it. I just like to get into the store 30, 40 feet and then look around.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's because I want to kind of get my bearings and I want to kind of like decompress. So what he found was if you put mirrors in the double doors, it creates a decompression zone, like what you were
Oh,
saying, where they
nice.
slow down and they actually change. They just either go look to groom themselves as top to look. It changes their frame from outside to inside. If you've ever come home from work and you just walk in the door and you're just accosted with your, kids or wife or questions, it's kind of like, whoa. Where if you got like 5 minutes just to kind of decompress, get your shoes off, think of it as the same thing in your mind really quickly as you're going to the store. And what it was did is by doing that, it actually impacted the sales and people would slow down and actually move through the store differently as a result of that. So,
But Scott, does AI know that? That's why being the most human business and brand possible will still be really profitable when we can tap into those things.
yes. I think AI is going to, the super intelligence that's coming. I was just on Peter Dimantis, if you know who he is.
Mm.
He's the leading expert in the future of things. And he was talking about the supercomputer being stronger in the next year than all the combined intelligence of the world or something. And it just, makes me kind of go, holy smoke, I don't even know what that's going to look like, what our world's going to look like. And that's a whole different conversation, not for today. But it's like I think that AI is going to be able to go, yeah, you should do double doors. Like it'll have these insights, but it's drawn on information that's given. I think that
Yeah.
the real magic is that thing that just makes your hair go up, like that kind
Mhm.
of like the feeling of like, how do you describe like the joy of like seeing a new puppy, and it's just like it's just so happy to come up and see you and stuff. It's like that feeling, the story and stuff. And I think that that storytelling, the our experiences, not it's a idea. I think more and more human storytelling and sort of points of view, because AI doesn't have a point of view.
No.
AI doesn't can't read the room. It can't, like I did my TEDx talk, right? It doesn't can't pick up what I'm putting down if I'm talking between the lines. It can read the lines, but not between the lines. So
Yeah.
I think that that's where the joy of being a creator, being creative, and frankly in business, like people look at AI as being like such a supercharge of acceleration. I would focus on the supercharge that AI can create more creativity, like just how it can unleash your creativity versus how it can automate things. That's where I
Yeah.
kind of like want to land on. Yeah.
I think that's actually probably a perfect spot to wrap up, Scott. Is that like
Yeah,
an hour?
we're exactly 1 hour too. Good
I
call.
know, crazy.
Good
It
call.
goes by so fast every time we do this.
I know.
So,
Okay, good. Well, then we'll give it a wrap. Do you have any final comments on that? Just
no, I really enjoyed this. I like that, we kind of weaved in and out of all different aspects of it.
we just kind of went with it. Nui I gave us an agenda.
Yeah, that's right. This is
All right.
freelance.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up then. So this is another episode, or the first episode technically, of Rip Currents. I'm Scott Martin. This is Julie Boake, and we are so stoked to be here. And if you can, give us a like, give us a comment, share it. Love to get more people. We're going to be here on Fridays at 12 Mountain Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern, and we'll see you then.